Hey guys, so I thought I would do a little video with uh, sort of an overview video of the process for setting up both a storyboard and an animatic. Um, and this is kind of how I think it would be probably the easiest way to do it if you're using After Effects and Photoshop. Well, the what I'm showing you here, this is kind of what a storyboard would be in the end. And so the point I want to make here, just right off the bat, is it's a presentational thing. So the whole purpose of the storyboard is to present your ideas, the storytelling ideas to a group, so that the whole production can come to like a consensus on how the story is going to play out and what scenes should be where and how things should be done. So that's the very idea of a storyboard. And so what I have here is this is kind of like the final piece, and the thing that's missing here obviously is the content, and so we'd have to fill in the little drawings here. The thing I want to say here is I'm going to leave this for last. This is the storyboard, but I'm going to just work on my files here um, in a separate file because there's more we can do with it, and I can tie this content across different programs. So I'm going to be using After Effects as well to do the animatic. But I guess in theory, you could probably use it in different programs here. Anyway, After Effects and Photoshop is what I'm using here. And just so everybody's on the same page, um, this is the script that I'm using here. So the idea here is I'm dividing up this this script, this story. This is from Don Quixote here. Um, I'm dividing it up into scenes. So this is what I would consider to be the first shot here, and that's going to be sort of an establishing shot, sort of shot from far away. And then this here, we get into Don Quixote's dialogue a little better. There's one thing that I'm forgetting here. Anyway, we'll leave that alone here. Um, anyway, this this goes to the next shot here where he starts talking about how it's his destiny to defeat these giants, and he points over to where he thinks they're giants, and that would be a new scene, and that's what's missing that I didn't do for this demo here. But then we cut back to them, and we have Sancho questioning, what giants, and that's about all I'm doing here for this little demo. This is just to show you guys the process of doing this here, but that's it here. So here, I went ahead and I did this establishing shot here, and um, you can see I have Sancho and Don Quixote and the windmills, and I've got some backgrounds and things like that. Let me show you the main thing about this here. So here you can see I'm actually missing a bit of stuff here because I did this more for sort of a technical demonstration here. But if I were to do the storyboard here, I would go back and the storyboard and the animatic, of course. But I would go back and I would add that scene with the giants, for example, and I would probably add one more scene in there where we cut back to Don Quixote, where he's saying, where he's talking about, how this is righteous warfare, and he's going to sweep the giants off the earth here. So, okay, so let's go here to shot one, and let me pull open this folder here. Now notice my organization here. This is really important here in Photoshop because this is going to save you so much time if you're just careful with how you do things here. So here's the cool thing about this here. I've I've organized my shots into folders, and if I open these folders here, you can see I've got different things here, such as um, the windmills, and you notice the windmills, they have their own folders here. Let's take a look and see what's inside them. So in windmill here, windmill one, you'll see I have the windmill base, which is that part, and then I have the windmill panes, which is this stuff here. Now what's cool about this here is they're separate pieces, and that means in After Effects I can rotate them around here if I do some animation with the transform, kind of like I'm doing here. So that's why I'm putting them in these folders because they're going to come in as compositions, and there's some really powerful stuff. In case you don't know yet, there's some really powerful stuff that you can do with compositions here. And you can see the rest here is I have the background and the foreground. What is that background? Oh yeah, that actually is the background. Let me show you some more things here about the background that I drew here, and just in general, you'll notice I drew way more than I needed, you know, and that's because this is going to be a shot that zooms in to that area there. So I'm going to keep this uh, sort of big so that I can have enough time to zoom into it here, and it's I can see different things here. I've also drawn this part here a little bigger than we need to, and we'll talk about that later. Let me just show you guys one more thing here that I don't believe I've mentioned before, but this is really cool. Okay, this speaking of presentational things, this is really cool. So I've got these layer comps here. And what layer comps do is for quick things like this, we could in this this is a sort of a time saver. It doesn't really do anything in terms of like creation of art and things, but in terms of like presentation and maybe organization, this is really cool. So let's say we're done with this here. What I'm going to do, suppose you have to present this to an art director frequently, or to bring it up in a presentation or something. I don't know. You could have your things organized this way. So for example, here let's create a new layer comp. So for example, here, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to call it shot 01, right? Um, you could apply the visibility, position, layer styles. So anything you have here, it kind of remembers that stuff, and it'll keep it organized. Let me go on here. So this is shot 1. It's only going to make sense after I do the next one here. So this is shot 2, right? And let's go ahead and not animate, and create a little layer comp for shot 2. I know I'm kind of deviating from the main content here, but this is really cool. I think you guys will thank me for it later. Um, Shot 2. Right? Okay, so do keep in mind here, shot 2, I haven't opened that folder yet, but let me show you what's in it here. So shot 2, if I open this folder, I actually have two poses in that shot, right? So we can say, let's do this. Let's call this shot 2A, right? And let's call this shot 2B. And in here, I'm going to do this. So now I'm going to switch the poses here. And you can see I've made a pose for Don Quixote 1, Don Quixote 2, Sancho 1, and Sancho 2. So I'm going to hide Don Quixote 1, and I'm going to bring up Don Quixote 2. Let's hide Sancho 1, bring up Don Quixote or Sancho 2, and let's create another layer comp here. So this is going to be shot 2B. Dot 02B. And you can put little notes or whatever you want in here as well if you want, a description or whatever. All right, so here, and then the final one, which is actually pretty simple, is just this one here, which is shot 3. And you're going to see here, yeah, I'm just going to do this. Let's call this shot 03, right? Now here's the thing. Okay, so now I'm in presentation mode here with this, and I can just go back and just go, oh, shot 1, no problem. Shot 2, I've hidden all the layers that I don't need, and as I press this stuff, look at what happens here. So, it doesn't matter. It handles all the visibilities, positions, and all that stuff there. This is basically a way of that Photoshop has of like remembering the different things that you had in your folders, and if they were visible or not, and stuff like that. So I know it's not exactly related to storyboards and things, but it's really cool. It can save you a lot of time when organizing things. So I just thought I'd mention that. Anyway, back to this stuff here. So here we are in shot 2, and you'll see I've got these poses that I just told you guys about. So Don Quixote 1, 2, and Sancho 1. This is my first shot here, which I want. and then I got that done here, and I'm ready pretty much to take this all into After Effects. Again, I am kind of missing a shot here that would be kind of nice with the giants or the windmills or whatever they see here, but I'm just going to move on with this. So I'm going to go here to File and save this, because I've saved it somewhere. And let's jump into After Effects here. You know what? Let me put this away. And I'm going to go here to File, Import, and let's bring in that file from my desktop. All right, so here, what I'm doing here is I'm bringing this in, instead of footage, I'm bringing it in as composition here, because that's going to let me bring in all the things, the different layers from Photoshop. And it's asking me here, you know, if I want editable layer styles, and I'll say yes. I'll press OK, and it comes in. Now here, I guess I could just jump in here to this scene here, but I have some other things. Well, if I jump in here, you get a composition here. Here's what a composition is, in case this is not clear yet. It's just sort of a well, it's just a sort of a drawing, an animation, or whatever you want it to be here, and you can see all my folders that I gave it in Photoshop. They're contained in here. You see I have shots 1 to 3 here. They are also compositions, because when the folders came into Photoshop, they get turned into compositions. So okay, so if I want to access those, what I was going to show you is I could just pull them up from here, and you'll see I've even got little folders here for the windmills and stuff. But let's take a look here at shot 1, right? And now at shot 1, I can make some decisions here as to like how I want to animate this stuff here. So if you want to, we could just well, tell you what, let's get with that. Let me get onto the main part here of the demo here, and then just sort of switching the shots, and then I'll show you how to do some sort of fancier editing with this here later. All right, so here we are. Let's go with shot 2, because this is the one where I want to switch the scene, the poses around. So I've got multiple drawings in here, and you can go in here. Layer 0 is basically this layer of white that I drew to keep, just to give me a white background. And I've got Don Quixote 1, 2, and Sancho 1 and 2. So here, up on top here, you can see the time measured in minutes, which is really, really long. So I'm going to go in here to composition settings, and I can change the composition settings if you want to something smaller. I'm going to say, you know what, we don't even want something like that big. I think 8 seconds will do just fine. So let's go with this. I think I know why it was 40 minutes. It was because I was doing videos here with After Effects as well for class. So anyway, in here, I'm going to time this out here, and I'm going to say, I want to see them walking. I want to see them both walking up to the edge of the cliff here. And basically, what I just did right now is I just ran my space bar here to see to get a sense of like how long I wanted things to last for, and then when it stopped here, I'm going to measure this out here, and I'm going to say that Don Quixote 1 lasts for this long, or maybe a little bit longer even, and then Don Quixote 2 should be over here. Sancho 1 will last for this long. Actually, Sancho 1 will last a little longer even, because I'll show you here in a second. All right, so let's turn all these on here. So now let me zoom in so you can see what I'm working with here. So basically, they walk up to the cliff here, and I haven't animated that yet. I would like to put in a little keyframe animation in there just to make it nice. And then here, Don Quixote says something, and as soon as he says something here, then Sancho reacts to it here, and he listens, and this is going to last, you know what, we can call that 4 seconds. Yeah, let's call that 4 seconds. So instead of just editing all this stuff out, I'm going to pull these little blue tips of these bars at the top here, and I'm going to just scale this to about this time here, and you can press Control, Shift, and X, and that scales the composition, the timing of the composition. And what I just did there is this. I'm going to go to Trim Comp to Work Area, Control, Shift, and X. So that basically has gotten my composition down to about 4 seconds. 40 minutes to 4 seconds, huh? It's quite a cut. You know what? I changed my mind. I think I want that a little longer here. So I'm going to go back here and go to Composition Settings, and let's make that a little longer here. Let's give it, yeah, let's give it 8 seconds. And let's just you know, even I might not need it, but let's go a little longer. And all I have to do is just stretch this out. You notice here as I'm pressing, if I press Shift down these layers, it's going to select all of them here. So what I can do just to select the ones I want is I can click on it. I can click on this one. You can either click the bar here or the layer. It's the same thing. And then here I can just pull, and it's only going to stretch those guys out here for a certain amount of time. So let's stretch it out to 7 seconds. And why did it go a little longer? Anyways, let's pull this up here. Shift Control X, and that crops it back again. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, so that'll probably do the trick here for this shot. Nothing too complicated. It'll get the point across. All right, so let's move on here to shot 3. Nothing much to do here. You know what? Just to get to the point, so I've got what I need here. Shot 1 is going to be a little bit more complicated because I actually do want to do some animation here. But just for the simple editing, I'm going to move in here to this. And let's start assembling my my final film here. So here I'm going to go to make a new composition. Let's see what we got here for the size. I believe this is, what does it say? 2820 by 1200. Okay, so I'm going to go here to Compositions, New Compositions, and make sure 2820 by 1200. Okay, yeah, that's it. All right, so here in my new comp, let's call this Final Animatic, right? Obviously, I'm missing a scene here, so let's see what I can get with shot 1. Let's put shot 1 in there, just for fun. And let's put shot 2. Shot 2 is the one we were just working on. And then finally, shot 3, where we're going to cut to Sancho. All right. So I want them to sort of walk up to the windmill. I want to give that some room to breathe here. So let's take shot 1, and I'm going to bring this back down here. Right. Yes, so this is huge. Let me go back here. I know what's going on. These things came in at 40 minutes, so sure. Let's just fix that really quick. I'll take care of all this stuff here. And I can just hit Control and bring these down here about this size, and then I'm going to just crop this down to that size, Shift Control X, and there I've got a couple frames of animation here. So let's move this guy up ahead here. So this is shot 3, and shot 3 I can position at the end of this here, and it cuts to Sancho. And that's basically our little edit here. So right here, this is essentially, this is the basics that the basic thing that I need for my animatic here. You just press play. I've got them walking across the plane. We cut there to their conversation, or more of a monologue maybe. What is this? Oh, right. Okay, so this is because I'm missing a frame somewhere. So that means this part doesn't really exist, so I have to bring that over here. Otherwise, we're going to see the background layer, which is still this. And I could just get rid of this too, but anyway, this is what I'm going to see here. So cut to this shot, they have this exchange, and then we move on to shot 3, and we can continue working that way to the end here. Let's go back to shot 1 here. I'm going to just jump into that shot 1 composition, and let me show you some nicer things that we can do here. So this thing is huge. This thing is about 40 minutes long. That's just too big. So I'm going to just take this and reduce the size of it here to about, let's give it 2 minutes. And again, Shift Control X just to crop the composition here. I don't even need a minute here for this, but I'll keep it at 2. Notice in here that I have the windmills as well. What I'm going to do with these guys here is I'm going to jump in here to windmill, and let's make a little animation here. Let me do one thing here so I can see the background. I'm going to animate this on white just so I can see my black lines that I drew. There we are. And if I zoom in here really quick, where are we? There we are. All right, so with this, this is the windmill panes. I'm going to just take this this little anchor point. I'm going to position that right in the center there where I want it. And let's go and make this thing move around. So here, what I could do here is just take the open up the transform. I'm going to take the rotation somewhere. Let's put that way back here. And then I got what? I got 2 minutes here. Yeah, sure, that's fine. 2 minutes. I'll make it rotate 360 degrees, right? And so in this time, I think that's, yeah, maybe that's even a little fast. Let's see how fast that moves. Oh no, that's fine. See, that's actually good that it's really slow because, you know, it's supposed to be. So we could do that. I'll keep that there. What else? I wonder what comp 1 is. It's probably nothing. I probably did that by accident just now. I'll get rid of that later. But anyway, let's go to windmill 2. And here I have the same thing. Okay, this one's kind of interesting. Let me show you something that's kind of cool here. So this one I kind of drew in perspective, but here's the thing. I can't really animate things in perspective. So one trick that we could do is we could make yeah, with this. Let's grab this here. I'm going to bring this down here. There we go. This one's drawn more in perspective, so I'm going to just get rid of this guy here and bring this here to the side. And this is looking straight at us here, which I don't really want yet. But let's do this here. I'm going to just turn on the 3D layers. Again, this is extra. You know, I'm just trying to show you as much cool stuff as I can. Here, if I just turn on the 3D layers here, let's go to here. Let's make this layer 3D. And then here, well, let's rotate it around here. That's all I need to do really, just to hit that little button. open up the transform, you'll notice that when I make this layer 3D, instead of getting a traditional position and rotation here, specifically I'm interested in the rotation, and being a two-dimensional layer, I only have one direction really, you know. So here, doing this, whoops, where do we go? Here we are. With this, doing this, now that's a little different here, and I can play with it here. I can say, we can rotate it on this axis. Yeah, see, that's pretty cool right there. And then here, I could do the same thing with the animation. Let's see what this does. X, that should be, no, that's not what I want. Is it the Z? Yeah, Z, there we go. So here, I can just do something like this, and maybe over here, I'll rotate that about 360 degrees. And so you see my my graphics are getting a little pixelated here because this is pretty much an effect that you're getting in After Effects here, so it's not ideal. But I mean, for our purposes here, it kind of works. Let's just say it works. It works fine. All right, so wait a minute, where did we put that? Windmill 2. Okay, good. Let's just keep this. Windmill 2 is what it needs to be. And let's go back to shot 1. And if I zoom in here, you'll now see that animation coming across in shot 1. What I'm going to do with these guys here is I'm going to bring them back. Let's see how much time we have here. This is 15 seconds. That's really long. Let's zoom in here. I think I want to be able to see them at about 3 seconds. So maybe even more, maybe 4 seconds. So I'm going to take Sancho and Don Quixote. Let's take the positions, scales, and let's bring them back here, like so. Make them a little bigger because they're coming towards the camera. What we could even do here with this is you could tweak that path here so it does, you know, some little variations here like this. Maybe move Sancho in a little faster. And yeah, that's kind of what I have with these characters moving in. That's a little too slow for me, you know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just tighten up these keyframes here a little bit more like this. So yeah, just to wrap this up here, let's go back to Final Animatic and let's see what we got here. So yeah, all my stuff is coming across here. I mean, one thing I can do, because this is a sort of a contained scene, and I've drawn these things a little bigger than the shots, I think I can zoom out a little more here. Let's see what that gives me here. So if I do this, take shot, transform, let's see, deal with scale here. I'm at 84%. You know what? I'm at 84% there. Yeah, I guess I could do that. And then here, maybe I could zoom in a little closer. So I'll do the reverse here. So I'll do this because we're talking about the planes here, you know. So let's see what that leaves me here. So if shot 1 is this, then what I probably want to do is I want to make that a little bit bigger so I can see the rest of things. So I can take the composition settings and just reveal more of this stuff here. So instead of having a width of only this, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger this way. and a little bit bigger vertically as well. And then with the background layer here, I could probably make that a little bit bigger so it covers everything here. We're going to see all my drawing. Great. All right, cool. So windmill. Final animatic is what I'm looking for here. So, okay, so this is great because, yeah, there you go. See, it zooms out and we get to see this here. And then we cut to the conversation. And then finally we cut to Sancho, and that's it. And that's what I need for my animatic for this this example here. So I'm just going to scale this down here to about the time I need. I'll press Shift Control X, or you can come over here to composition and trim comp to work area, and we scale that to the amount of time that we want here. And finally, to get it out of After Effects and into a video format, I'm going to go here to File, either Export, export as media encoder queue, or you can do this on the composition panel as well. So you go to Composition, and you have to be in the composition though. This is Final Animatic, and then I'm going to send this off to Adobe Media Encoder queue, and it's the same thing, and you can see it's even got a little shortcut here. So I'm going to start that up, and in my computer it takes a little while to start or to send over sometimes, and so I'm going to pull that up. It should be up shortly. Meanwhile, just while this is loading up, I just want to point out this. I'm going to use this stuff right in my storyboard. So with this, I could take this. Let's take shot 2, and this is my first shot here. So let's just bring that in there. You see it kind of fits in there. So I can just scale this down to my my size that I'm using here. Or better yet, if there's if everything's drawn to scale, that'd be even better here. There's media encoder just telling me it received the file. So here's this. This is shot 2. I'm going to just scale this down a bit so that it doesn't spill over there. And I mean, you could I would try to get it to be exact, but just to sort of move on with the example, I hope you guys do get what I'm trying to do here. And then in here, here's shot. This is shot 2B, right? So the first one is just them stopped. The second one, I'm just going to hide the layers that I'm not using and enable the ones that I need here. And so this is different. And so it's really now a different panel. You see. Layer 0, what is that about? That's this, okay. And then finally, I could keep going with that other stuff and just get all that stuff out of there and fit it, onto the storyboard that it needs, and it's going to look like a complete, complete storyboard. Let's move on here to the animatic here, and I've chosen my my video format here. I do want H.264 for the format here because this is a really nice compression format that works really well over the web, and for things like we're doing here online, that would be ideal because it doesn't take very long to render and things. I'm going to pick a place that I want to put this here, and if I press play, that basically just records my my movie, and that's it. That's all we need to do. All right, so here it's finally rendered out that video, and we can have a look in the folder that I just saved it at. Just press this and it'll pull it up, like so. And here we are. And we can have a look and see what it looks like. And there it is in a video format here. And that's pretty much what I have for this animatic. So for the rest of this part here that I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish up my my storyboard the way I've been doing here. And what I've done here, I basically created, a measurement here with these. Well, I've talked about this before already, so I don't think I'm going to talk about it again here. But I've used these little rulers here. Let's see. So I made this here. Photoshop has these shapes that you can make here, and if you keep them as shapes, so you can, you use a shape like this. I'm just going to keep it as a shape. I can tell it here that I want this to be 2 inches, and I'm going to spell out either spell out inches, or you can type in IN. Width, that's W, by height, and it's trying to measure things in pixels here. But I'll do 2 inches. Let's see if that gives me this. So 2 inches. Sure, whatever, that's fine. It's got to do with the pixels, I think. So anyway, what I'm doing here with this is I'm basically fitting that to the side of this canvas, and yeah, and that's how I'm getting the measurements here. Here you can see I wasn't as careful as I should be with this, but I wasn't too far off here. So what I can do with this now is just zoom out here a little bit. This guy is huge. But if I crop this to a certain size, let's just zoom in here, maybe in a little bit more. If I crop this to a certain size, I can arrange it to be, that size, and then just have this be the correct size. And all that's really left here is for me to just fill in the little blanks here. So, with this, for example, let's go in and just throw in my shot 1. Shot 1 goes in where? Right, let's just put that on the very top here. Turn that on. Yeah, that one is huge. So what we could even do, and what a nice thing to do here would be, is just to put that in a layer mask. So once you're all done, you could just put this in a layer mask. I'll just do that. I'll just merge this together as a picture. Control E. And in shot 1, let me show you actually a nice way of doing this stuff here. You see this is huge. I don't need all that stuff here, but what I am going to do is just put this way behind my very first things. And if you order these things, it's going to be more organized for you here. So let's say in here, you know what, I think this deserves to be covered again, this part, because I think we can really be more organized here. So I'll tell you what, let me just do this piece here. I'm going to just right click and create a clipping mask, and there, so we can fit that in here. And that's how I would go about doing this stuff here. So you can size this to the size that you need, and just go about doing your things that way. What I would really do, though, for these things too, is rather than just creating these squares and go across it, think of everything that you're going to need, So are we going to need dialogue underneath? Well, I would say yes. So in that case, I would just disregard the spacing requirement that I had here underneath. I would disregard that, and I would just put a little bit more space in here. I would build a little text box. If you don't know how to build a text box here, you can just use the type tool and just drag it out like so, and that gets you this thing here. And then you can just type in what you need, what you need it to be. And it is really sort of small in here. Oh, okay, so it's really sort of, there we are. So 20, that's the size of my font here. I can go a little bigger. So at 72, that's this. And so we can say this is my dialogue. And so, knowing that I'm going to have my dialogue here, I could make this whole thing a group. So like, let's say with this rectangle 1 plus this text box here, wherever I put it. Let's go ahead and make that a group. And then, this now would be something that I want to copy over to the next one here. So rather than doing these copies that I did here, just make your things so that they have the text as well, if you need text, that is. Um, I would also recommend, this is extremely helpful, let's put in a little number in here, panel numbers. That needs to go over this thing. And so, you can arrange this how you want, but that's the general idea. And from here, I would go and just complete the rest of the storyboard. It's not terribly difficult, but I just did want to show you some organizational tips and how to work with that. So, it could hopefully save you some time when doing that. So I hope you found this helpful, and if just let me know if there's anything else that I can do, and I'll see you later.